All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one we'll be doing our final Q&A video for Game of Thrones leading up to the series finale, which is, of course, tonight. We'll go through some of your guys' Q&A questions and giving our thoughts now, since we're at the end. Oh man, how's it going, guys? So tonight is the night. I definitely want to go ahead and do one last one with you guys, sort of giving our final thoughts on, the series. Of course, finishing off tonight, we will see the final episode. It pains me to say this, the final episode for Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones premiered in 2011 with its very first season. It looks like that was in April 2011, and now we're into April 2019 when this season started, and now May 19th, 2019 for the very final episode. So it's been quite a ride, right? That's 8 seasons, but it's pretty much like 9 years if you're counting 11, and then all the way through, right up until next year being 2020. So it's pretty close to a decade. It's close to a decade that Game of Thrones has been running and absolutely dominating, I want to say, fan interest for every spring or summer, depending on its runtime, that it's been on. I have enjoyed doing this with you guys so much over the years, and I hope you've enjoyed, Game of Thrones and discussing it and talking about it. If not here in the channel, in the comments with me, then whoever, you like to talk about Game of Thrones with, do predictions and, give your thoughts on each episode and everything. So a lot of fun, and certainly I want to see you guys do that after tonight's final episode. Let me know what you think of the series in the end. Pretty incredible stuff, man. Certainly mixed emotions, because it's so exciting to see how the series is going to end off. And I think it is another extended episode tonight. But still, it's just like it's kind of makes you sad, because it came so fast, right? This season, being that it's only 6 episodes. And, just a few episodes ago, they were at Winterfell. You had the long night going, which was incredible. Probably, for me, will go down as my all-time favorite episode, or maybe the most excited. But Battle of the Bastards also has to be in that conversation, too. And I wonder in a few years if Battle of the Bastards will be my favorite episode, because that was really exciting also. But to get to see finally the White Walkers face off against Jon and our survivors was amazing in a lot of different ways, right? And also, too, that was when it felt like everybody was on the same page, and Daenerys was kind of a good guy type of character, and they weren't turning on each other, and everybody had each other's back, and even Jaime was helping out, and before they've kind of turned on each other for the last war here, where Daenerys comes across as very bloodthirsty and just very hungry for the throne and willing to do absolutely anything to get it. It's kind of saddened a lot of people, right? So let me know where you guys are at. What do you think, man? Final thoughts for tonight's big finale. I'm very mixed emotions. Sad that it's coming to an end, but it's been such an incredible series, and I think, it's true that the longer it goes on, the more whining people are gonna, the more whiny people are gonna be. And yes, I know people are gonna get mad. Well, Trev, it's the writers, yada yada. They did this with Daenerys, and I hate it, yada yada. All this stuff doesn't make sense, and the Long Night didn't make sense, and Arya killing the Night King was BS. It didn't make sense, but it's like, well, I saw this too with Walking Dead, right? Once you get over about 7 or 8 years, it's really difficult to try to keep that fan base, glued and interested, and to keep people positive about a show, because they've seen so much already. It feels like they've seen everything at that point when you get maybe close to 100 episodes or so, and it's really difficult for them to keep it original and keep reinventing it. And yeah, man. So for Game of Thrones, I totally get it, and with the reduced episode count, it's sped up some of those that character development and changes for Daenerys and for the others. That so some people are not liking that. A few comments leading up to tonight's final episode. Prophecy 6 says, you can't become the best villain in one episode. I don't know about that. Daenerys is certainly going to try, right? So, I hear what you're saying. Maybe you say she was a great hero, right? Type of character to follow prior to the last few episodes. Right up until the point where she's fighting against the Night King and fighting with the others. Right side by side, she's with Jon and everything. So quite a big turn for her very quickly, maybe too fast, and a lot of people are kind of complaining about that. But the best villain of the series, will the Night King go down as the best villain in Game of Thrones? Will it be Cersei? That's one video we definitely have to do this week, counting down the top 10 best villains of Game of Thrones. I got to think hard and long on who should be the best villain of the show. You guys can leave a comment below. For you, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, who is the best villain of the series for you? Or is it like Ramsay or Joffrey or one of the others that we've had some great ones. It's really hard to say, I think, of who the absolute best villain is in the show. And you can always go with the more sophisticated kind of new agey idea that no one's a villain and these are just people, right? And people can do good and bad, right? You can do that too if you want, I guess. Except for the Night King. He's just pretty much evil, and I don't think he really has a good side to him. Light says, Cleganebowl was very satisfying. Cersei and Jaime at least circle back to when they said they'd be together, which was okay. Strickland and the Golden Company were pointless. Arya's arc throughout was a little pointless. Varys' death was meaningless. Euron's death was underwhelming, but not terrible. Dany's actions were definitely in character. Qyburn's death was terrible, and that's about it. Done. I actually like Qyburn's death because it's just like poof, poof. It just got like but isn't that how it should be? You got like this little old guy, and he's created, he's created Frankenstein's monster, and Frankenstein just turned on him. It only takes one boof and smash his head against the thing, and just one little shove from the mountain, the zombie mountain, and that's it, right? He's dead. So I actually kind of like Qyburn's death because it just felt like this moment of revenge for the mountain when all hell was breaking loose and the mountain knew it was over and the dragon's burning everything to hell and the mountain knows even he can't take down the dragon. So he just he realizes, okay, it's finally time for me to do this, and he just boom. He's probably waiting to do it for a long time. So I don't know, man. I actually kind of like Qyburn's death. It was quick. But it wasn't that bad. Euron's death against Jaime was, it was just okay. I know Euron has some fans because he's a pretty fun villain, right? So some people like him, kind of similar to Negan from The Walking Dead. He's got some charisma and stuff. People like how evil he is and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of funny in some ways for some people. And he didn't get, he got to kill one of the dragons. He got to have some fun scenes with Theon and with Yara. But recently he's kind of been overshadowed by all the other stuff that's been going on. But, I thought it was okay, and it was fast. And to see Arya in there, I wouldn't say it necessarily was pointless. It was just, you had her on the ground, right? So we had got to relate to her and see that from her perspective. To really set in the damage that Daenerys is doing so it doesn't seem trivial. It's really to set in to the viewer what she's doing and how brutal it is for the women and children that are on the street, and that she's responsible for this. That's, at least in terms of an objective view from when I'm looking at it, take myself out of the equation, when you're looking at it, you're seeing destruction and death here at Daenerys' hands when they rang the bells. So again, that's taking her towards being, a villain. That's not a heroic action to burn women and children. People can say collateral damage, but there's hundreds of thousands. That's collateral damage in the hundreds of thousands. So yeah, that's hard to justify, and you can pretty much see that that's what they're doing with her, is they're turning her into a villain. So then we have TREVVV, BRAN, WARGING, DROGON. What? Oh, that'd be cool, man. So that's from Zach Walker, who says that he thinks that BRAN is going to warg into a DROGON. So I hadn't thought about that. That's a cool idea. Maybe we will see that. That could be kind of sweet. Well, he's a three-eyed raven now. So does he still do warging? I mean, he can, right, from before. So I think he probably could. So maybe that will make sense. That'd be cool. I hope we will see that. That'll be sweet. Maybe that's how he can kind of control him if Daenerys gets too out of control or Jon is at risk, something like that. Cara Garver says, Dany lost 2 of her children. This would drive any mother to madness. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, yeah, I get you. She has lost a lot. It's not like we're sitting here saying that she didn't lose enough to change. She lost enough people, and the 2 dragons to change. So it was there. I think it's just that because the episodes were reduced in count, it felt really fast. If you'd have done 10 episodes instead, and it would have been more of a progressive, slower change, started earlier on a different trajectory, then it would have felt more natural. That's just my opinion, though. John Lee Marshall, even I don't hate it either anyway. Like, I think it was a pretty cool turn and stuff, and it kind of was a twist. It kind of came out of nowhere a little bit because you wouldn't think she would normally do that. Well, some of the soldiers maybe, but civilian women and children, you wouldn't think so, right? John Lee Marshall says, if HBO decides to wash its hands of Game of Thrones prequel or spinoffs, I'm sure George R. R. Martin will get offers from other studios. I'm sure legally, the contracts, I don't think HBO is going to let go of Game of Thrones no matter what. You would have to pry it from their dead hands. They're not going to let go of Game of Thrones. So contractually, I bet A Song of Ice and Fire is so wrapped up, there's no way anybody could get it. At least I don't think so, unless they want to take on HBO in court, and that would be nasty. Because I think the amount of subscriptions Game of Thrones is getting right now is like 11 million or something, 11 million views, subscription views, times however much per month each person pays, wherever they are located, for their package, and however much of a cut HBO gets of that. You would not want to go to court against them. Anybody wouldn't want to. Any network or anything. Curry Van Yam says, twist, Dany is killed by Jon, who just found out she's pregnant, right? So, I don't know if he found out she was pregnant, I don't know if he would do that, right? I'm not sure if he would. LH predicts the number of dead is between 300,000 to 500,000. I think that's a pretty good estimate. I think that makes sense. There was, of course, after the long night, it looked like they didn't have hardly any troops. And then all of a sudden now, when you see Daenerys there, it looks like she's got so many Unsullied, like it's crazy, like a huge army. And at the end of the long night, it felt like they had none. So maybe not as many people were killed as we thought. Maybe it's less than half. That's not a bad prediction. We'll see. Hopefully in the finale, they'll just tell us a number of how many people died. Or an estimate or something. BM Junior 24 says, just dawned on me, after great thought, Jon may end up having to kill Daenerys. So that would make him the Queenslayer. Sad irony to inherit Jaime's cursed legacy. Battle of Winterfell, the greatest episode I've ever experienced. Everything since, a betrayal to the characters we grew to love. So I think we gave enough of our thoughts on that one already. I won't comment on it further. Holly Mainland says, what if Jon refuses to kill Daenerys? So Arya becomes Jon's face, and she kills Daenerys. She's killed everyone else, so that's true, right? She has. And it also would make sense because that's a good prediction from Holly because, when you see Arya on the ground in King's Landing and she's just trying to get out of there and people are dying right next to her, women and children and everything, that does kind of put her on a trajectory to blame Daenerys for it and maybe want to kill Daenerys as a result. So we'll see what she does. And we'll see if Jon tries to stop her or something. That could be interesting, man. The one thing about the last episode is it should be drama filled, so that should be really good because there's no real. It's almost like on the verge of civil war in the group because you don't have an outside antagonist anymore. Daenerys and the others have won the war, the last war. They just refused to accept surrender, so they exterminated a lot of people unnecessarily. So now that's going to cause kind of civil unrest in between amongst themselves, probably. At least that's what it looks like. But we'll see how the final episode goes. Battle of the Bastards and Dance of Dragons, my two favorite episodes. Jimmy Smith, right? And last one will be from Lendl Alfred, who says, most of the time, spin-offs lose their magic from the original series. Many people are disappointed with Game of Thrones last season. A spin-off may not be in the best interest of the show. So, well, when you end a show, when the show is done, and it's just done forever, the only thing it has is the replay value. When you have 10 million subscribed viewers per episode, right? Like that many people that are subscribed to your network for Game of Thrones at that time, that's lunacy if you don't provide them. That's so much demand that you kind of have to give them more supply. You kind of look at that and you say, look at the demand here. We have to give them more supply. Whatever we have to do, we have to figure out a way. If we have to throw money at it, another 100 mil or whatever, throw money at it because it's so. You don't want to just leave it because it's something that there's so much money left in it still. You can keep milking it, right? Because that's insane. I mean, that's probably the highest numbers for a TV series in history because it's a subscribed channel. If you compare it to non-subscribed or free channels, I mean, that's insane. You would put that at like 20 or 30 million or something like that, right? over 10 or 11 million per episode, and it's subscribed at a pretty good price point for HBO. I guarantee you there's more coming, and if there isn't, then people are stupid, because you kind of have to do something. I'm just surprised they ended it in such a way. I guess they let the showrunners kind of end it up the way the showrunners wanted to, and we'll see how that ends up tonight. But HBO might regret that. If they kill off the majority of our stars characters, and then you can't do a spinoff or anything after that, they may seriously regret allowing them to finish the series the way they want to without more network intervention. The network, and they probably don't want to micromanage the showrunners. You kind of want to let them finish up the way they were doing it, because it's been so great over time. But you should have left the door open for a sequel. I'm just saying, like, something. You should have left the door. If you didn't do it, it's like you kind of effed up big time. So we'll see. Hopefully everybody doesn't die tonight, and there's some people alive at the end. And I don't know. Prequels, I guess, is where we're going, but who knows? We'll see. Anyway, that's it for this video, leading up to the end, the final episode for Game of Thrones. Hope you guys have enjoyed it over the years. Have some fun tonight for sure. Let's enjoy one more last episode, and then this epic series is over for good. And that's it, man. See you guys back for the review after the episode tonight, and lots of Game of Thrones videos this week, as this is the final hurrah, the last episode. That's it for Game of Thrones. Leave your comments below. How are you guys feeling? Let me know. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new, you're kind of late, right? Pretty late. Better late than never. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.